Hey everybody, thanks for joining me. By popular demand, I am going to show you guys how I did this fun little look. Mom absolutely loved it. Everyone that's seen it loves it. It just added like a little bit of whimsy. This is Teagan. She's one of my little models. She's about 3, I think. She's about a size 4 and she is just awesome. I love her. She is the best. She gives all the good looks. This is the one that we're gonna do. And like I said, I'm just gonna show you guys how I added this look to this flower box. So originally this is straight out of camera minus me with making the backdrop a little bit wider. I do notice this that I didn't notice before, kind of a half plant thing. We're just gonna pretend like that's okay because I'm not doing that today. I'm gonna show you guys how to add and do the little customized, flower stand. But I will say that generally whenever I do fix the first image with the first backdrop widened, I always save it as the original file because then I can just go in and add the sides to other images and I don't have to go back and re-widen the whole thing. I don't know if that makes sense, but it just saves me a lot of time. So what we did was when I pulled out this sweep, and this is a sweep, it's an 8x14 sweep, which means it's 8 feet long or 8 feet wide by 14 feet long. And so it includes a backdrop and a floor drop. I do have a video on that if you want to see any tips on shooting sweeps, and that will probably answer any of your questions that you might have, but feel free to leave anything in the comments that you need to know. So I love this little backdrop. It is the cutest, and I wanted it to look like kind of like a flower shop scene, like she had like a flower stand out here. And so I literally just grabbed a bunch of baskets, threw some flowers in there, didn't even think twice about it, just threw all the flowers in there. I actually see where I left the little tag for this little basket. Okay, so what I did was, these are just 2 apple boxes that are just kind of pushed together, and I sat her on them. And as you can see, they kind of look different. They're not exactly the same look. I think this one's probably a new one, and this one's probably more of a used one that I probably purchased online. So what I wanted to do is I wanted to make these look like a flower stand, and my goal was I was trying to make it look actual like a flower stand, and then I thought I need to kind of mask the imperfections. That's whenever I brought this and overlaid it, as you can see, and because I was trying to make the 2 boxes look, like one, as you can see. So that's kind of where that was born. So how I did this was I went in and I just kind of fixed the major imperfections, like where they came together. You can see that this one is just a little bit, it needs to be looking like this one. And I just tried to make them look as similar as possible, like they were one. And so I just came in and fixed this a little bit and just kind of lighten this area just so that it wasn't so obviously 2 boxes. So once I have that all cleaned up, then I'm going to bring in my pattern. Do you have to have a pattern? No, but it does mask imperfections and it gives it kind of a look. The one that I used was this, actually, that I got from Etsy. I mean, I paid like $1 for it, and it's just so cute. I had purchased it for something else, and I thought, you know what, this would be super cute on there. You could also use things like checks or, this pattern. There's a bunch of different things that, you can pretty much use anything. But I do want to say the one that I had purchased was pink, and I didn't really care for the pink with this look. There's pink in it, but I just didn't want pink. I wanted to kind of pull some of the blue tones from the image. And so what I did to get it to here was I simply went to adjustments, did a new hue saturation layer, and then I just pulled my slider over until I got the shade of blue that I wanted. about right there. And then I kind of brought the saturation down just a little bit. I mean, it's not exactly the same, but it looks similar. And then I flattened it and that's it. So that's how I did that. Super easy, quick. You can manipulate just like if it was the checks, you can do the same thing. Go to adjustments, hue, saturation, move your slider over. It could be green checks, it could be purple checks, it could be blue, whatever, or you can just completely desaturate it and it can be black and white. So that's how you kind of do that. I am going to say, I'm going to show you guys something. So these pattern papers that you usually purchase, you know, from Etsy actually make a pattern whenever you duplicate it and pull it over. And I'm going to show you what I mean. So what I did was I actually made a new document that was 12 by 12 and I pulled my pattern paper over here and then I just went and did my letters that I wanted to use so that it was all in a PSD document that I could then save in this picture file down here so that I could simply copy and paste it into the picture that I was going to add this look to. So I could either drag this. So this one is the one that I'm going to, so I can either drag my pattern into that like that, or I can choose the layer, hit edit, copy, and then go into my picture and then hit paste. And then it's going to copy and paste it in there. So I'm a drag and dropper. So that's usually what I'll do. But those are the two different ways that you can do it. So I wanted, when I did this, I wanted the one to be exactly the side because I wanted to see this bow and this bow completely. So all I did was once I have that in the size that I want it, you can actually bring down your opacity to kind of look at where you have it positioned. But I wanted it to be at the floor and at the top. So once I have that done, you can simply choose that layer and hit Command J. And you're going to copy it, and then all you do is drag it directly over, and you'll see that it's pretty much seamless. So then, to make it easier on myself, I'm going to choose these two layers and put them in a group so that I can put a mask on it and just mask off everything all at once. So I have my mask on, so since my mask is white, anything, if I want to take it away, I do the opposite, black brush. If I want to add back to it, I change my brush back to white. So then I'm actually going to change this to soft light. If you want it to be a little bit darker, you can always copy it, and that's going to make it a little more darker, and then you can bring it down. So then you can actually then put these into a group and put a mask, layer mask on that too. Then I'm just gonna go ahead and start erasing it off of the objects around it. And it doesn't take as long as what you think. Once you do it once, you can kind of remember where you want to take it off and where you don't. And since this is only really kind of used at picking up the pattern of it, it's not, you know, minute details. You're just kind of, and the way I kind of go about it is I go kind of on the outside of, let's say, the leg or the flower, because there would be kind of a slight shadow. And then you might want to come back and add just a little bit. But there would be kind of a shadow where her leg is on that box. And then you're just going to take it away. Now, the thing is that we shoot from different angles. Now, if you're working on a tripod and you shoot from the same angle, you could probably almost just put this on a separate, or actually save this as a PSD and then copy and paste this over and over once you add the lettering. And then you could just do that over and over instead of going through this process. And I just kind of soften the edges a little bit because this would technically be kind of a shadow down here. And that's it. So there's that. Now I'm going to bring over the lettering. So then I'm just going to choose those lettering files. I'm going to copy, and then I'm going to paste. And I'm actually going to put those in a group, and I'm going to change it to, I think I put it on soft light. Oh, it only grabbed flowers. I want to grab them both because I want it to be positioned correctly. There we go. And I made it just a little bit bigger, and I know where the middle of those boxes were, and that's kind of where I want that to go. Like that. And then if you want it darker, you can Command J and copy. And then what I did was I went to the one behind it and double click and add a drop shadow to it. And then you can kind of do that until you like it. Okay, so just like I did last time, I'm going to group these together and put another layer mask on it so that I can then paint it away. And this is much faster than what I'm showing you guys. It just seems slower because we're doing it together. It took me a lot less time to do this than what I'm showing you, I promise. And once you do it once, it's like easy to do after that. And then you can just copy and paste these over the next one. Like I want that to show, but then I want to make sure that it's not on her shoes or her skin. And there we go. There's that. So I can pull, let me see if I can pull another one in to show. Okay, yeah, here we go. Okay, we're going to pretend like we're just going to add this to the boxes. So what I'm going to do is clean up these boxes again. I'm going to show you how fast this is once you've done it once. And the only reason why I'm doing this right here is so that it looks more like one box instead of two with the different shades of wood. So I'm trying to kind of blend those in. So I'm going to go back to the one that I did. I'm going to choose this and this. I'm going to edit, copy. Okay, this is why it's important to save this as a PSD so that you can go back in and copy and paste it to your next ones that you're working on. And then if I paste them, I want them to all be on the same one. And you can see that I was working at a different angle. So you want to make sure that that angle is the same. And that is almost exact. But all I have to do is go back in, fix the lettering, and switch back and forth between your black brush and your white brush and kind of take it away. And I can promise you this is worth the extra effort. I promise. Mom freaked out whenever she saw this. She was like, "Oh my gosh, you added her name on there." And I was like, "I know, isn't it so cute?" I was like, just consider this her little branding for her little flower shop. It was so cute. So cute. And you can go in and do it perfectly. I'm going to kind of shade this bottom a little bit. At the end of that S, I need to take off. And then add the top of that B. And that's pretty much good. But look how easy that is. Do you see what I mean? So make sure that your original work file, so the way I happen to do it, and I can't take credit for this because I didn't do it on purpose, but I fixed my backdrop with the same one that I did the flowers by Teagan, the flower box with. So this was my work file, if that makes sense. So I had it saved as a PSD where I had, could grab and use this background again in different images, but then also I could grab this that I had already pretty much shaded. And so even if I was at a different angle, it was still similar. And it was just easy. And that's really it. I can go ahead and finish out editing this picture. I'm going to do some really simple color pops, and that's pretty much it. I've already done her facial retouching, so I don't have to worry about that. What I did here is I added my, Campbell Soup, my golden standby, and then I added a Leonardo foundation those are both from Painterly Portrait Collection, Pop the Blues. Then I noticed that floor was picking up some magenta, and I didn't really care for that. I wanted to get that magenta or the red out of there. So in the Portrait Retouch collection, they have some great ones in there to get rid of certain color casts. And so I just used the red one for that and just got rid of some of that red in the floor. Sometimes when you shoot natural light or constant light, it kind of tends to pull some blues in the whites. And so I just vanished the blues to kind of get rid of some of the blues in the whites. That looks good. Then I went into my Jessica Drossin overlays and I used Awakening, which is a good light one. It's so pretty. You'll see. And we're going to pretend like I fixed this flower pot. But that was a really good one. I'm going to kind of take it off of her just a little bit because I'm going to pop her with a separate action. I like the way that looks. Since I'm already right here in my Jessica Drossin, I'm going to go ahead and pop some highlights behind her. I have a separate video on this awesome action on how you can use it to turn on lights. I'm going to kind of highlight this door frame and some of these flowers back here. There we go. And then I'm going to go back up really quick actually into my Portrait Retouch, and I'm going to use this one that I love so much. If you've watched any of my editing tutorials, you know that this just adds just a little bit of highlight to her. Then I'm going to go down into my Tiny Dancer, also by Greater Than Gatsby. And I have a video now that is all of my favorite Greater Than Gatsby actions. So I'm going to go down on a Tiny Dancer and I'm going to hit Illuminate Subject. And what that does is it uses AI basically to find the subject and then pop just the subject. And I'll show you. Boop, boop. So cute. So cute. And then as my last one, I am going to just add some warm tones in this image. And that's pretty much done. I could add a highlight bump. That's a little bit much. Let's pull it down just a little bit. You know, sometimes my go-to, if I feel like it just needs a little bit of a punch, is to go back and give it another Campbell Soup can and take off that warmth since I already used that. But you can see how it just kind of adds that little pop, and there you go. So, so cute. And that is just a really little fun way to add, you know, some magic to your images. And it's super easy to change the name. You just go into that, you know, before you flatten it and just change the name real quick. And if you've already done it and you're holding it in this PSD file, it's just easy to copy and paste, and you can just change the name in here and then just copy and paste it right in there. And you could use, and you know, don't go buy anything if you don't need to. If you already have a pattern or that you could play, or you don't even have to use a pattern, but if you know, have already a digital paper that you could use, just slap it in there and then just go through and change your, you know, choose what kind of layer it is, you know, based on what the look you want. So, and the color. So anyway, I hope that was helpful. Just a fun way for parents to freak out, and it makes you look like you're a rock star photographer, and it's just so much fun, and the kids love it, and it's just a way to just add some magic to your images and make you look like a photography rock star. So anyway, if you have any questions, let me know. I will link everything in the comments, and we'll see you next time. Thank you.